Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
You're broadcasting on Facebook Live for the temple?
I'm gonna share. I'm gonna have to share it because I don't have the temple credentials.
Nobody has the temple's credentials.
Yeah, but Hare got it in his book. I don't have it.
So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 3rd chapter, Rishabhadev's appearance, text number 12. It'd be good if other people also would know these things, not just one person. Otherwise, that person is not here, that person not available, then nothing moves. You know, that's not how things work in the real world. There has to be other people who are in the know, who also know how to handle things, because life happens with or without us, believe it or not. So, this is Rishabhadev's appearance. Atha katanchit skalana shutpatana jrimbana duravastana adishu vishvasanam naha smaranaya jvara marana dashayam api sakala kashmala hirasanani tava gunakrita namadheyani vachana gocharani bhavantu. Ata, still, katanchit, somehow or other, skalana, stumbling, kshut, hunger, patana, falling down, jirimbana, yawning, duravasthana, because of being placed in an undesirable position, adishu, and so on. Vivashanam, unable. Naha, of ourselves. Smaranaya, to remember. Jvara marana dashayam, in the case of having a high fever at the time of death. Api, also. Sakala, all. Kasmala, sins. Nirasanani, which can dispel. Tava, your. Guna, attributes. Krita, activities. Namadheyani, names. Vachana gocharani, possible to be uttered. Bhavantu, let them become. We good?
Yeah.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Dear Lord, these are the priests speaking in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Navi, speaking to Lord Vishnu who had appeared. Dear Lord, we may not be able to remember your name, form, and qualities due to stumbling, hunger, falling down, yawning, or being in a miserable disease condition at the time of death, when there is a high fever. We therefore pray unto you, O Lord, for you are very affectionate to your devotees. Please help us remember you and utter your holy names, attributes, and activities, which can dispel all the reactions of our sinful lives. Purport. The real success in life is Ante Narayana Smriti, remembering the holy name, attributes, activities, and form of the Lord at the time of death. Although we may be engaged in the Lord's devotional service in the temple, material conditions are so tough and inevitable that we may forget the Lord at the time of death due to a diseased condition or mental derangement. Therefore, we should pray to the Lord to be able to remember His lotus feet without fail at the time of death, when we are in such a precarious condition. In this regard, one may also see Srimad Bhagavatam 6 to 9 to 10, and 14 to 15, which is in regards to Ajamila's pastime. Om Ajnanatikarandasya Giranjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Nidamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripadam Aham Bande Sri Gurvinataranam Paramananda Bharavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchikalpatarupyascha Kripasandavyevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. Here the priests are continuing their prayers to Vishnu, and they're saying something very, very touching. They're asking the Lord for help in remembering Him at the time of death. Because the goal of life is Ante Narayana Smriti, to remember Krishna at the time of death. Janma karma chame divyam evam yaveti tarpata kyapto neham punar janma naiti mameti sorjuna. If we're able to remember Krishna at the time of death, we can return to His abode. But the time of death is a very precarious situation. Why? Because everything fails. The gross body fails, the mind fails, everything that we have tried to achieve, it all finished, all meaningless. Nobody cares how many positions, how many titles, how many shirts you own, how many cars you had, how many people you knew. It's all meaningless. It all turns into nothing in one blink instant. So at that moment, to be able to remember Krishna is a great blessing. And that's only possible by His grace. Because when the body and the mind start malfunctioning, it becomes a little difficult. Have you noticed? Sometimes we miss sadhana, we miss days, we miss weeks, because we think, oh, can't do it, can't perform, can't go do this. So, in the Ishopanishad, the devotee prays to the Lord, please remember what I have done for you. So, not that the Lord will forget, but the devotee is just praying, please remember what I've done for you, because I would really like for you to remember me at the time of death. For that will be the perfection of my existence. Just like when Vidura heard that Krishna was remembering him at the time of death, before Krishna, there's no death for Krishna, but before Krishna left this world, seemingly, staging his disappearance, his magic, his mystical disappearance from this world, which was perceived by the mundaners to be Krishna's death. Yeah. He got shot in the heel and then he died. Has anybody ever died from getting an arrow into their heel? No. It's kind of painful. It's not very nice. Somebody shoots an arrow in your foot, but it's not going to kill you. No. But that's how Krishna, and then he disappeared. And he left behind a material body so that the mundaners could say, see, he was an ordinary person. So Krishna gives every reason to the non-believers to stick to their conviction. So, the devotee prays, oh my Lord, please remember me. Just like Vidura, when he heard that Krishna had remembered him when he left this world, Vidura cried tears of love. And Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport that is the perfection of existence. If we can cry tears of love for the Lord, being grateful for His kindness, for His mercy. How good are we at overcoming the repetition of birth and death? How good are we in Ante Narayana Smriti? But already now we're facing little obstacles. At the time of death, there's big obstacles. You have to go on that big journey. But already now, little things happen, and we can just observe ourselves. Am I remembering Krishna, or am I going crazy? And there we can see, did I pass the test? Am I ready for the big one? Maybe not quite yet. Maybe a little more practice. Maybe a little more homework to do. Now, as long as we think that there is still something in this world, we'll have to come back. If you still have a bucket list of places to go, people to meet, things to do. If you still think somebody owes me money and I owe someone. If you still think I need to collect, even if it is apologies or the satisfaction of being right or being respected, or then we'll have to come back to collect, to solve, to finish up that business. So we should have a policy. No more new business here in this world. Let's close our little corner store, our little, pawn shop. People open a pawn shop somewhere. They start selling BDs and pawn. Have you seen in India? Anywhere, right? Like next to the bridge, to the toll booth, to the railway track. Somebody put up a shack or just like a box. Or like the guy here, go to the stoplight and start selling water, right? Everyone thinks, I got my little business going, I'm pretty, like he took an old refrigerator and made that his cooling box. Have you seen the guy down there? And he ties the old refrigerator to the light pole so no one steals it. So he's a very crafty person, right? I'm sure he knows how to source his material. And in a similar way, the living entity is very invested in this mature world. But all of that means nothing when it's time for the big journey. So as long as we still think that I got something here in this world, and I have to ensure that my children and grandchildren and my dynasty is prosperous, and that can be in a material sense or in a spiritual sense. I have to ensure that my legacy is well preserved, that my interests and the interests of my kind are well represented. That is a miserable life. Why? Because we'll have to come back. We'll have to come back. So, as long as we're still harboring feelings of want, of desire, or of disappointment, or of anger, or of envy, or of jealousy towards other living entities, what to speak of Vaishnavas, we'll have to come back to do our homework, to resolve those issues. Because we can't go back to Krishna like that. You know that play where, it's a famous Sunday feast play. I don't know if you do dramas here sometimes. You have the Harinam party on one side of the river, they're chanting and dancing. On the other side is a guy, and they tell him, come over here. And he says, no, I can't. I got all these rocks, You see this beautiful rock, and this rock, and that rock. So I can't let go of my rocks. Rocks represent our attachment, our issues that we still have. He said that she said, somebody, I didn't get my cookie, 25 years ago, and it was his fault, and he's going to have to pay for that. He's got it coming. Karma will get him. I may not, because I'm very generous and kind, and I've kind of forgiven him, but I know karma has got his number. So, as long as we still feel some resentment, we can't go back to Krishna. And then the devotee said, no, let go of these rocks, leave them there, just come over. And he thinks, they kind of having fun, it looks really attractive. But let me at least take my 3 or 5 favorite rocks, But then he ends up taking 7 or 10 or 12. And then he tries to cross the river and he sinks. He can't make it because of his attachments. So we laugh, we think, how silly, how stupid, right? Let go of your rocks. But meanwhile, we don't realize that guy's me. We're standing in front of the mirror every day and we go like, hey, that's a nice rock. Hey, what about this? Well, this is a brick, it's kind of big and heavy, but but it represents my opportunities here in this world. And what about, all the missed opportunities, FOMO, fear of missing out? That's why people get paranoid when they do all the social media stuff. Because all they scroll through is they think, oh, everyone's living a life. Everyone's going places, doing things, and enjoying tremendously. The only person who's miserable in this world is me. And people actually get depressed. That's why if you get off your phone and you get off social media, I guarantee you your quality of life will increase by 108%. Money back guarantee from this seminar. Try it out for a week. My phone died in Guatemala, and for 8 days I was without a phone. And believe it or not, I'm still alive. Can you imagine? We're still alive. It was pretty good, although it was also a little stressful because I was traveling 3 countries without a phone, without a computer, without any means of communication. It was more, Krishna, okay? You got me covered, all right? And here I am, voila, another 7 countries later, I'm still alive. So, of course, these things are not just gross, these things are very subtle sometimes. And we know that this world was created from the most subtle. Krishna recognized the desire of the living entity to enjoy. And just that desire instigated him to create the material world and to inject the living entities through his glands in Mahavishnu, which is Sadashiva, the creative potency, to inject the jivas into the material world. So, Krishna is very responsive. He responds to the desires of his devotees. So we cannot hold on to these things, especially if we have anger, envy, resentment, upset. We harbor those. These are very strong emotions. We harbor those in our heart. We cannot go back to that. We have to let go of these things. One time, I was in Rishikesh. I used to go up there with about 12 friends to do Nagar Sankirtan, chant and dance Hare Krishna, distribute Prabhupada's books and prasadam. It's a blast. It's an amazing town. So, at one point, there was a tourist, and he grabbed one of the Bhagavad Gitas from a devotee, and he just threw it on the street, demonstratively. And a little scuffle happened. You know what a scuffle is? Not like a big fight, just a little scuffle. And a few fists were flying. So, we carried on, and we went, and we chanted in front of Lakshman Jula. And after about half hour, the police showed up with that man. And they demanded to know who's in charge here. So they wanted to arrest me. And I said, can I have a word with this gentleman before you take me to the station? And as India, people are nice and they respect, sadhus. So they said, yeah, you guys come. So we went a little aside, and I asked him, what's your problem, man? like, why are you so angry? Like, what's your problem? And he just vented, he just downloaded on me for about 15, 20 minutes about book changes and poison theory and this and that and Ritvik and whatnot. Like every possible conspiracy theory he was aware of. And every possible mistake or error, whatever, he all put it out. After 15 minutes, he kind of paused, and I said, have you finished? And he said, no, I haven't finished. And he went on and on and on. And he said, you have to listen to this, because otherwise I will do this and that. He was a loud American, and I'll make sure you never come back to this country, you'll never get a visa again, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, bring it on. Then, at some point, he ran out of steam. And he quieted down. And he wanted to hear my response. And I told him, you know, I've been in this Hare Krishna, this ISKCON movement for the past 40 years. And all of what you said, I appreciate your contribution. But I have to tell you, actually it's much worse. You only see the tip of the iceberg. I've been doing this for 4 decades. It's much worse. Yet, I have decided that rather than criticizing and finding faults and screaming and yelling, I want to be part of the solution. I want to be part of the people who actually try to reverse the trend and make things better. Because this movement has got a lot to offer. And that's why we're here in Rishikesh, sharing this wisdom, sharing this process with people. Yet, if somebody has seemingly offended you or disrespected you, I'm truly sorry for that, and I apologize. And I hope you can let it go. I hope you get over it, because I think, it can be a good life. So, we had a little moment of truth there, a little meltdown. And then we walked over to the police, and the police said, so can we arrest him now? And he said, no, it's over. I dropped the case. Today, no case. You can go home now. The 2 of us hugged, and the police was like, what? No case? No bribes? No excitement? What all this fuss, No, it's it. Finished, over. And he walked away. I went back to chanting. And every day he came and he watched us from a distance. He didn't take part, but he watched us from a distance. Just to make sure, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? So, I have decided that even when I meet people who are doing atrocious things, or have done atrocious things, if they are sincerely trying to serve Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, I'm your servant. And I'll help you. I'll help you. Because that's my mission. We got one mission only. And that mission is Harinam Sankirtan. That is the Yuga Dharma. That is what works in this age. Meditation doesn't work. Jumping from here to there doesn't work. When the devotee asked Prabhupada, can I go to Radhakund? Prabhupada said, no need. There's already enough monkeys there. You don't have to go there. There's plenty of your kind already there. So, and we can see sometimes devotees, they try to jump around like monkeys. Let me go to this group. Let me go to that group. Let me go to this, organization, that organization. Maybe I'll get something better, something higher, something more esoteric for cheap. I have to pay less for the highest thing. But Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. If you enter the Sankirtan ocean of Shishi Gornitai's Sankirtan pastime, you come out on the shore of Radha Krishna's pastimes. There ain't no jumping to Radhakund. You'll just be another monkey. You'll just be another imposter. There's no access like that. So, let us all bury the hatchet and let go of our bucket lists and of our grieving lists and whatever other lists we're still keeping, scores that are not yet settled, that will have to be looked at. Let us just do tabula rasa, tabula rasa, clean slate. So that when the moment of truth comes, which is the moment of death, that we're prepared. Now, there is no real preparation for that moment, because when that big moment comes, there's nothing that prepares you for it. But I can tell you one way how to experience a mini death. You know how? You get out into the unknown, You meet complete strangers, you hand them a book, and you say, Hare Krishna, this is for you, my friend. And please, give something to Krishna. It'll be good for you. And you don't know how people are going to react. Maybe it's an alien, like his head will open up and, something will come out and they'll chop off your head and they'll eat you alive. You don't know, right? But no, here people are very nice. People are very, very nice. Like yesterday we went out on Harina, downtown. We just went on the street and business to business. And all we met was friends, well-wishers, devotees, practitioners. All we met was gratitude, appreciation, and where have you guys been? It's been a few months since you guys haven't showed up. What's going on over there at UG Road? You guys just rolling in the ecstasy, or, you just... So, people are leading boring lives. They're leading difficult lives. And they're just looking down the street. When will Nitai and Gaura come dancing down the street? When will the Sankirtan devotees come and bring me prasad? That's the only meditation that they have. Imagine you have to sit in a dusty store dealing with haggling customers. I mean, it's hell. It's like miserable. Okay, if that's your profession, that's what you have to do. Do it for Krishna. Everyone has their Kurukshetra. Everybody has to face their mini death. So, this is the training. This is the training for preparing ourselves how to remember Krishna in every situation, whether it be the good times or the bad times or whatever times. And in this way, at the time of death, we can actually pray to Krishna and invoke His presence by calling out His holy names in a spirit of humility, of gratitude, and of full dedication, which means no other agenda, no other thought. If we still have something that's taking up bandwidth, bandwidth? If you still have something that's taking up RAM, then we'll have less attention for Krishna. And that may not suffice to get us to the desired destination. Of course, Krishna is very kind. One time Prabhupada gave a lecture in Los Angeles, and he said, you have to be 100% pure and dedicated to go back home, back to God. And everybody was hanging their heads, not for me, not going to be possible. And Prabhupada saw that the devotees were feeling a little depressed. So he said, okay, 90%, there was good. He said, okay, 70%, but not less. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that if you chant 16 rounds and you follow 4 regular principles, I will get you back home, back to Godhead. Even you may not be qualified, but I'll get you in. He said, I have the key to the back door. So it's not what you know, it's who you know. But that means we have to hold tightly to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. We can't be jumping around, going each different day, a different place. Like Mukunda. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit, he manifested his universal form, his form as, not universal form, his form as Vishnu. He sat on the throne of Vishnu, and he manifested all the different forms that his devotees were worshipping. His, what's it called? Prakash? Help me out here, friends. Mahaprakash Lila. Thank you. The devotee said, what about Mukunda? He will not get your mercy. And Nimai said, no, Mukunda, he won't get my mercy for 1,000,000 lifetimes. He comes here and he mixes with the devotees, and then he goes to the Mayavadis, and then he goes to those people, and whichever group he mixes with, he sings their song. So it will, in 1,000,000 lifetimes, I will give him my mercy. So the devotees were very surprised, and they went to Mukunda, and they told him that the Lord said in 1,000,000 lifetimes, you will get His mercy. And he started dancing. Haribol, Haribol! In a million lifetimes, I will get Mahaprabhu's mercy. Haribol! And they went and told that to the Lord. And he said, all right, bring him. But the pastime is here to show us we shouldn't be jumping around, shopping around, thinking maybe someone's got the highest thing for cheap. Yeah, you can buy 2 rupee Diksha certificates. It formerly used to be 2 rupee. Mayapur at the main gate, there's a guy who would come on a rickshaw and announce 2 rupee Diksha, 2 rupee Diksha, and he would give people a certificate for 2 rupees that they have Diksha. What's the meaning of that Diksha? You can fly to Delhi and the taxi, the rickshawala can initiate you right at the airport, and you can fly back. You can say, I'm initiated. I'm now part of such and such sampradaya. And then you start wearing your funny turban and grow your funny beard and put your funny tilak, whatever. It's meaningless. Diksha is a formality. It's a ritual. It's external. If we haven't bought into the mood and mission of Guru Parampara, if we have not imbibed this mood of service and separation that is exemplified in the gopis of Vrindavan, then we have missed the boat, we have missed the bus. So we're very fortunate that we have this opportunity to serve in this ISKCON society under the shelter of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the association of all the Vaishnavas. And let us let go of our gross and subtle attachments, even of the satisfaction of being right or getting things our way or getting closure. That's another big one, right? I need to get closure. I need to overcome all my traumas, all my dramatic experiences of this life or of last life or of how many lives. We've had a few. We've had a few lives. Brahmande Brahmite Kona, Bhagavanaji, Guru Krishna, decided by Bhaktivedanta Beach. 8,400,000 births. How much regression, depression you want to do? So let us let go. Let's let go of these anchors, these attachments that will keep us in this world, so we can truly call out for Krishna's grace with fervor, with feeling, with no other thought in our minds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
If we treat life every day as our last, then we'll have no pending business. We'll have no pending homework. We should live our life in such a way that if today is my last day, I can say I did the best I could. Or can we truly say that? Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Speaking for myself. Still a little bit a ways to go. Of course we think, hey, decades. But no guarantee. People are dying of all kinds of weird diseases at the bright old age of 37 or 42. They just drop in their office chair. They just croak in their bathroom. They just get a heart attack on their way to the office, to the big important planning meeting. And then it's all game over. Start again next time. And we're not sure if it's going to be better. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity and for the association to help us remember Krishna. And if you want to train for the big journey, for the big moment of letting go, go on Harinam Sankirtan. Face the music. Face yourself and see how you react with rejection, with opposition, with appreciation, with opportunity, with praise. Maya will test us. Maya will test us. So these are some reflections. We have time for a couple of questions or comments or yes. Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your very insightful discussion. So,
Just sharing our own struggle.
we can tell these are the best realizations, actually, and that can impact our lives.
People are not impressed by memorization. I mean, some people are, but parents can do better at that, and computers. But people want realization. They want to know what's in your heart, what makes you you, what gets you up in the morning, what keeps you moving forward, what drives your life. That's the stuff that actually attracts people and keeps people in this movement.
That is the purity. So, Prabhu, as you were saying earlier, you've done this for 40 years. You've been many places, and it's really, really bad in so many areas, and then there's some glimmer of wonderfulness wherever you go. But my question is, if you can comment, actually, because sometimes our meditation, and this I could not do, so I have a challenge with it. Sometimes our meditation, I've heard in so many ways that I can go back home to God. That's very far out for me to even think about. But service, just stay with the service. Whatever the result is accepted. To think that I can qualify, it's really too far to even think like that. So I'm wondering, in the years that you've traveled and all these things that you've done, how do you, what is your meditation on the basis that, hey, I would be happy, more than happy, to just keep doing this lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because that in itself is the perfection of life. And so sometimes I wonder if my thinking is so far skewed that I can just accept the service and be that, as opposed to thinking that I can attain that there's no difference, that is Krishna, that is the service.
Yeah, back to Godhead is not a zip code, it's not a geographic location. It's Krishna consciousness. And you can be right there, here. So, of course, the analogy with the tip of the iceberg, I use that just to appease the guy, Jai Shishigori Tai Ki Jai. And actually, it's the other way around. There is all that part of the iceberg that you can't see. So there's that much good happening, that much wonderful activities happening in this Krishna conscious movement. And then, because my vision is limited, I can only see the tip of it. And usually that's the stuff that goes wrong. And because I have imperfection in my life, so I'm very used to mistakes and imperfection. So that's usually what I pick up on. That's what I notice. So when I see people being angry, lusty, greedy, envious, critical, then I resonate with that. Why? Because that's my disposition. And that's my disposition. So like and like attracts itself. So actually it's, for the most part, very, very, very exciting and blissful, yet there is pradamaya, there is a thin veneer, there is that covering potency of the illusory potency that's there. And to enter into the Dham, we actually need the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Otherwise we can't penetrate that covering. I can't overcome my own conditioning by my own effort, because the problem's never solved on the level of the problem. You have to come to a higher level, and that's taking shelter. And yes, we can take shelter of selfless service. That is a very good attitude. Initially it's Nishkarma Karma Yoga. I will do the right thing and I'll offer the fruit, or I'll not be attached to the result at least. And at some point we'll realize that I don't make the rules of the game. It's up to Krishna. So I'm happy to play whatever part Krishna wants me to play. As long as I think I can only cook, I can only manage, I can only design, websites, or I can only fundraise, then we're limiting ourselves. Krishna has a plan for every jiva, every living entity, that includes us. We don't know our capacity. Krishna is the ability in man, and he can do the magic, as he has done, and as he's doing every moment, every step of the way. That's why we need to do Harinam Sankirtan together, because we get that experience that Krishna will empower us and will let us say things and do things that we didn't know that we were capable of. Have you noticed? All of a sudden, you're way out of comfort zone, and your mind says, "Hey, you're going a little crazy here. Cool down, boy." So, yes, what you said is very correct. That it's not a matter of place, or it's a matter of when, but it's a matter of intensity. How can we attract Krishna's attention? And so, if we serve the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya is not different from Srimad Radharani. If you try to do a little something, then by Radharani's pleading, by her introduction and her recommendation, Krishna is obliged. He will give us his permission. Like Prabhupada said, in Mayapur, Radharani is holding her head like this. What does that mean? This movement? What is she doing? She's dancing. And when Radharani dances, Krishna can't leave, because he's mesmerized. He's captivated. He's a prisoner of the love of his devotees, his pure devotees. So, when that is our attitude, then let me be a humble servant. Let me be a team player. Let me contribute to the best of my capacity to the team of Srimad Radharani. Krishna's got our back. Krishna's got us covered. Even if sometimes there may be some incongruities, there may be some riffles and scuffles, and sometimes you get stabbed in the back, and sometimes somebody throws mud in your face. And we just carry on. It's like water on the back of a duck. Is water on the back of a duck a problem? Huh? No. Is there a problem?
No.
Why not?
That will stay.
Because the duck is not bothered by water. In a similar way, if we understand we're inherently Satchidananda, we're spirit souls, we're servants of Krishna, nothing can touch us. No one can stop us. No one can hurt us except ourselves. Right? If we, like Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, he told Prabhupada, you know, Prabhupada, that there's racism in your movement? And Prabhupada said, yes. And if you're bothered by it, you're no better than them. So as long as we think, I'm a this or I'm a that, and I can only function like this or I can only function like that, then we're not there yet. We still need more time. We still need more refinement. So I like your meditation. Mama Janmani Janmani Shore Bhavatat Bhakti Rahaitu Kitani. Whatever you want, Krishna, I'm happy to serve in whichever capacity. That is Mahaprabhu's mood, and that attracts Mahaprabhu's blessings. Thank you. Last point. Yeah, since you're the one who is keeping note, our studious scribe.
Well, it's kind of yoga, right? So
yeah, to remember means to write it down, right? What did this guy talk about? Breakfast, lunch, dinner?
So, Prabhu, you mentioned the test.
Yes. And the small tests and then the big tests.
Small test came, I went through, I failed. It was only a couple of days ago.
Well, you noticed that you failed. That is a great success. That's a great achievement. Most people, they're plowing through red light after red light. They get hit truck by truck, and they can't even notice.
At one point, I thought, my goodness,
the big test will come when everything breaks down. The final breakdown can be controlled crazy.
There's a final countdown and there's a final breakdown.
How will I cope? So it was quite a realization. So it's nice to talk about that because I was just reflecting. It's a serious point.
Yeah. And Krishna very kindly allows us to notice that there is room for improvement, even in ourselves. Now, some people are never wrong, but they're not always right. And we need the association of devotees to remind us, to help us, to become more aware, to become more Krishna conscious. That maybe there is some room for improvement in myself. And this Krishna conscious movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large. And it doesn't matter what our background, what our orientation, what our gender, what our inclination, those are all externals. These are all upadis, designations. All of that is not really relevant in the bigger scheme of things. But as long as we hold on to them and we think this is my Mahavakya, my battle cry, my mission in life, then we'll have to come back to fight the battles and to be killed again and again and again. And even if we're right, we'll still drown in small pools of anger, which is kind of silly, right? There's a lot of people who are seamen, they're merchant navy, and then when they're at the port, what is their favorite pastime? To get drunk, right? And sometimes they're so drunk that you just fall over on the street, and sometimes they drown in a puddle, which is kind of ironic. Here's a guy who's traveled, countless times across all the seas and oceans, and he's drowning in a little puddle. And Prabhupada gives this analogy that the Mayavadis, the yogis, the mystics, they think they're so, Inye Ravindakshami Muktamaninas Dvayas Tabhavada Vishuduraya Aruya Krishchrena Paramapatamata Patantyadona Drita Yushmadangraya. But because they have not taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is Mukunda, the giver of liberation, they think in their minds that they're very advanced, that they're very spiritual, that they're very detached, that they're very elevated, that they're liberated, that they're God. But then they drown in small puddles of anger. Or they start again engaging in politics and in altruism and trying to be a good guy in this world. And we know that good is not that good and bad is not that bad. It's always a mixed bag in the material realm. They get implicated. So we shouldn't go down that street. That's why we have to read Prabhupada's books every day. Otherwise our intelligence will not be fortified. And we won't be able to catch it. And we won't be able to accept it. Even if it's evident, and even if people tell us, we won't be able to get it. We need the help of Krishna. And Krishna means not just Krishna alone, it means Krishna's devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What does Hare Krishna mean? I need help. I need help. Thank you for your kind attention and cooperation. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaur